Hello friends, this is Praveen Gore, lecturer science department. So, this class I'll be starting with unit 4, that is wave motion. So inside this video what we will see. So before going to waves and motion of a wave, we'll study first what is a periodic motion, then we'll study a simple harmonic motion, then expression for displacement for a particle executing simple harmonic motion, then we will study wave and its characteristics. So what are the characteristics? We have wavelength, wave frequency, wave period, many such things, and we'll study relation between wavelength, frequency and velocity. So to start with, I'll move on to periodic motion. So what do you mean by a periodic motion? So here's the definition. Any motion which repeats itself at regular intervals of time is called a periodic motion. Any motion which repeats itself at regular intervals of time. So I'll give you the example, that time you'll understand. So motion of a pendulum in a clock is called a periodic motion. All of you might have seen pendulum in a clock. In wall clocks we see pendulums. Some wall clocks we see pendulums. So what is happening to the pendulum? So pendulum is moving back and forth. The pendulum is executing oscillations in a back and forth direction. So what happens? After every particular time, say after every 2 seconds, it completes one rotation. So every 2 seconds it is repeating its motion. Every 2 seconds it is repeating its motion. Same way, rotation of earth about its axis. Rotation of earth about its axis. So what is the time period? 24 hours. So earth rotates around its axis every 24 hours. So initially, suppose before 24 hours, earth is at one position. After 24 hours, earth will come to the exact position. So motion is repeating. Same thing happens in a wall or clock. So we have spikes. Okay. So we have a second spike. We have a second spike, a minute spike and a hour spike. Okay. So what happens? The second spike rotates from 12, starts from 12, it rotates, it completes one rotation and comes back again on 12 after 1 minute, that is 60 seconds. So 60 seconds is period and rotation of spike is called as periodic motion. Then we have simple harmonic motion. What do you mean by simple harmonic motion? Any motion is said to be simple harmonic motion if the acceleration is directly proportional to the displacement from mean position and is always directed towards mean position. So what it is, I'll explain with an example. So let us take the example of an pendulum. Okay, the pendulum is fixed here. Yes. So what happens when we oscillate this pendulum? This pendulum undergoes oscillations. This pendulum undergoes oscillations in both the directions. So at one point the pendulum will be here. It moves in this direction and reaches this point. Correct? It starts from one end, goes to other end, and again it repeats the motion. So in this case, what happens? What is the characteristic of a simple harmonic motion is that at any point between two extreme positions, acceleration is directly proportional to displacement from mean position. This is mean position. This point is mean position. So acceleration is directly proportional to displacement from mean position. So if the particle is here, we will have acceleration. If the particle is here, we'll have acceleration depending upon this displacement, and it varies along with displacement. So what happens is acceleration is directly proportional to displacement from mean position. And what is acceleration trying to do? Acceleration is always trying to attract the particle, the pendulum at this point to the mean position. Acceleration is always directed towards mean position. If the pendulum is here, it is attracting the pendulum towards mean position. If the pendulum is somewhere here, still it is attracting the pendulum towards mean position. So acceleration is always directed towards mean position. Now let us see what is the expression for displacement of a particle executing SHM. So for this purpose, we will take a particle moving along the circumference of a circle. Here you people can see we have a circle, okay, whose radius is a units, and the particle is moving from point X to point P. The particle is moving from point X to point P. So at t is equal to 0, particle is at position X, and at time t is equal to t, the particle moves to point P. So in this case, the particle is making an angle theta from X to P. The particle is covering the angle of theta. So what is angular velocity? Omega. Angular velocity omega is angle subtended divided by time taken. Here it is, omega. Angular velocity omega is, this letter looks like W, but we call it as omega. So angular velocity is angle subtended divided by time taken. So in time t it covers angle theta. So omega is theta divided by t, and theta is equal to omega into t. This is one of the expressions which we will need further. So we have to find out what is displacement from mean position. What is displacement from O? What is displacement from O towards y-axis? So if you see, when we plot a normal to OI, we get PQ as the normal. So O to Q is the displacement. O to Q is the displacement, which we take it as small y. Let OQ is equal to y with the displacement from O. So that y distance, what is that y distance? Expression for that we have to find out. So we take a right angle triangle OPQ. If you see a right angle triangle OPQ, in which angle at point P is theta. Angle at point P is theta. So therefore we can write it as sin theta is OQ divided by OP. OQ is nothing but small y, and OP is nothing but radius of the circle, which is A. Radius of the circle is A. Therefore we can find y as A sin theta, and we know theta is omega into t. Therefore y is equal to A sin omega t is the expression for displacement of a particle. Y is equal to A sin omega t is the final expression for displacement. So at any time t, if a particle is moving with angular velocity omega and the radius of the circle is A, then we can find the exact displacement at what point the particle is at one particular time. So this is what is expression for displacement. Then we'll move further and look what a wave is, how the wave structure looks like, and what are the different characteristics of a wave. So before going to waves, we all have seen waves inside water. Suppose water inside a pond is very still, it is not moving at all. How do you create waves? Yes, very simple example is, we throw a stone inside water, still water, and the ripples are created, and those ripples are nothing but waves. So what we are doing, the water is still, water is not moving, and by throwing stone we are creating disturbance in the water medium. So that disturbance is nothing but wave. So there is a simple definition of wave. The wave is a disturbance created in the medium. Wave is a disturbance created in the medium. So look here in the diagram. Look here in the diagram. So this is a simple structure of wave. This is a simple structure of a wave. So a wave starts from point O and it reaches point J by completing various cycles. Okay. So from O to B it is in positive direction, B to D it is in negative direction. This way we have. Okay. So what happens if a wave is starting at point O? If a wave is starting at point O, where is the one complete wave formed? At what point? Can we say from O to A is one complete wave? No. If we say O to B is one complete wave, again it is wrong. So what is a full wave? From O to D. From O to D is one complete wave. One complete wave. Or else we can say one complete wave is formed from point A to E. The distance between the A to E is called wavelength, because A to E is one complete wave. If you are talking from point B, where is one complete wave formed? From B to F, one complete wave is formed, or else C to G is another complete wave, one complete wave. So here you can see in the right side of this diagram, points A, E and H. Points A, E and H in the above diagram, they are called as crests. What they are called? They are called as crests. Point C and G, they are called as troughs. They are called as troughs. So remember, what is a crest? Crest is a point of maximum amplitude in positive direction, and trough is a point of maximum amplitude in negative direction. So we'll study what are the characteristics of waves. Here again, right side to the diagram, I have given O to D or A to point E or B to F is complete wave. One complete wave starts at point O and it is completed at point D, or A to E is one complete wave, or C to G is one complete wave, B to F is another complete wave. Okay, this way. So we have to find out what is wavelength. We have to find wavelength. So what is wavelength? So let us take the example from point A to E. The example for point A to E. So point A to E is one complete wave, and that distance will be our wavelength. So how do we define it? A very simple word is the distance between two consecutive crests is called as wavelength. The distance between two consecutive crests. So distance between A and E is a wavelength. And what are A and E? They are consecutive crests. So we can also say the distance between C and G is also wavelength. Therefore, the definition is the distance between two consecutive crests or troughs is called wavelength. Now we have wave frequency. Wave frequency. Suppose we have different sources and all the sources emit frequencies. So emit waves. So what is wave frequency? The number of waves created in the medium in 1 second is called wave frequency. The number of waves created in the medium in 1 second is called wave frequency. So how do you define, how do you put it in simple words? How many waves are created in 1 second? Suppose I start a music system and it creates wave. So how many waves are created? Say 480 waves are created, or 512 waves are created, or 600 waves are created. That gives us frequency. So how many waves are created in 1 second? That gives us frequency. Then wave period. The time required to set up one complete wave in the medium is called wave period. Time required to set up one complete wave in the medium is called wave period. So suppose to set up one complete wave from O to D, to set up one complete wave O to D, I need 0.33 seconds. 0.33 seconds. So my wave period is 0.33 seconds. So how much time is required to set up one complete wave? How much time is required to complete one wave? That gives us time period. So there is relation between wave period and wave frequency, which is given by wave frequency is 1 divided by wave period. So wave frequency, if we denote it by F and wave period by capital T, so F is equal to 1 divided by T. This is very important relation. Frequency is 1 divided by time period, or time period is 1 divided by frequency, either way. Okay, now we'll study what is the relation between wave frequency, wavelength and velocity. So we'll consider a wave with velocity v, frequency small f, and wavelength is given by the letter denoted by the letter lambda. It is called as lambda. So we know general definition of velocity. Velocity is distance divided by time. Velocity is distance divided by time. So in this case, we'll take the velocity as wave velocity and we'll take distance as one wavelength. One wave is completed, so that distance is wavelength. And how much time is required? Time of wave period is required. To complete one wave, how much time is required? Wave period is required. So wavelength divided by wave period is our wave velocity. Therefore, v is equal to wavelength is lambda divided by t, and t is nothing but 1 divided by t is nothing but frequency f. Therefore, v is equal to f into lambda, where v is velocity, f is frequency, and lambda is wavelength of the wave. So v is equal to f, lambda is the relation. Then we have types of waves. So two types of waves we have generally. So first one is mechanical waves and the second is non-mechanical waves. So mechanical waves, the waves which require material medium for their propagation are called mechanical waves. The waves which require material medium for their propagation. So what does this mean? So example we'll see sound waves or water ripples. Sound waves or water ripples. I'll take the example of water ripples. I throw a stone inside still water, water ripples are formed, and those water ripples travel to the boundaries of the water where the water surface ends. So what happens after water ends, water medium ends? Do the water ripples exist? No, the water ripples die there when the water is not there. So what happens whenever there is no medium? Mechanical waves cannot exist. Mechanical wave exists only when we have matter. Similarly, sound waves. Sound waves, if we have air molecules in a room or else solid structures in a room, then only we can hear sound waves, or else liquid inside a container, then only we can hear sound waves. If there is no medium, if there is vacuum, then mechanical waves do not propagate. They do not travel in any of the direction. So mechanical waves require material medium, any material, a gas, liquid or solid material they need for their propagation. Then we have non-mechanical waves. The waves which do not require any material medium for their propagation are called non-mechanical waves. Okay, they do not require any material medium. Even if there is no solid, liquid, gas, even if there is vacuum, they can travel. Example, light waves. Light waves, suppose they are coming from sun. So in between we don't have any matter, any material over there. So what happens? Even though they travel through space vacuum, therefore these are called as non-mechanical waves. So there are furthermore types into this which we'll be studying in next video lecture. Thank you.